Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldridge Show. I'm Jason Stockwell, Remax Results.
And I'm Dawn Eldridge with Remax Results.
We're on every Sunday, 10 a.m. here on AM 1280 to the Patriot. And we just heard some great stories about our favorite state fair story, our favorite food. We're trying to give you valuable information all the time. That's our goal, is to give you experts in any field, in real estate related, inspection, mold, lending, so that you go into your purchase or sale or renovation or whatever it may be with the best possible resources, or at least an option to have the best possible resources. So that's why we have Nikki Knuckles here with Wells Fargo, representing Wells Fargo and their programs that they have available, which they still have. We talked about it. Nikki, I'll let you talk about the two that we're talking about that are very powerful for, especially for first-time home buyers there's so many people that have the desire, that want to buy the first home, but with the prices going up the way they've been, they're getting scared or nervous, and the way the rents have been going up, they're priced out of renting sometimes, it seems like, too. So, I was talking with an agent the other day, and they said you can buy a home for as little as $1,000 or $1,500. That's less than your deposit in many places for rent.
Sure, first month, last month, deposit.
Yeah. Sometimes it's $3,000 some dollars for rent, exactly. and you can buy a home and own it for that price. And with your guys' programs, the LIFT program and the other one that you're going to talk about, I think would be great. So,
yeah, I have to say, we got to be really patient in this market right now with buyers, especially first-time home buyers, and getting out and helping them not give up right now, and finding some of those tools and resources that are in the market that are going to help make the process or the longevity of home ownership work for that family.
Yep.
So we do have the Neighborhood Lift program still. We have a couple $1 million left, and Neighborhood Lift is a down payment assistance program. It's up to $7,500 in down payment assistance. We could probably help a little over 300 more homeowners.
Yeah, so if you're out there and you know someone, a friend, family, coworker, that's thinking or talking about it and they're renting and they're sick of it, or they complain about it all the time and they really want to buy, to call or reach out. Yeah.
Here's what I like about the Neighborhood Lift program. It can be used for down payment or for closing costs. So if you're trying to get that edge on the competition, say you're going in multiple offers and you don't want to ask the seller to pay your closing costs, these dollars can be used for that. Then you get into layering like the Minnesota housing, which is up to $10,000 more in down payment assistance. Now that's entry cost assistance. Generally you're paying that back. Again, Neighborhood Lift is a true grant, forgivable after 3 years. So when you start layering a really good, solid first mortgage with really good interest rates, and then you have your down payment assistance programs that can be layered together, you're getting yourself in a pretty good position.
Yep. And then what's the other? My first mortgage?
Your first mortgage, yeah. We just rolled. I mean, we're just a few months into this, and I have to tell you, your first mortgage is essentially, the way I think about it is this. Put every single conventional product and the best of the best into one program, and it's proprietary. It's Wells Fargo's product, your first mortgage, and it's good. It's just a great. You don't have to worry about if you're falling in certain income limits, or because a lot of the programs you have to fall within certain income limits to get that really awesome loan. This has no income restrictions, and which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's conventional product.
Yep. Nice. And one other thing, if you're putting less than 10% down on the property and you take home buyer education, we'll take 1/8 off the rate.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's nice.
Yep. So we'll take 1/8 off the rate if you go do home buyer education. So we've always led with education. Yep. Right now we're just totally walking that talk, and leading really, truly with education. So you can do like framework online. That's through the Minnesota Home Ownership Center. There's many HUD approved home buyer counseling agencies.
Steps. I think it's Home Steps is one of them.
Home Stretch, yep.
Home Stretch, yes.
Yep. So there's a lot of approved classes that you can take to get that 1/8 off the interest rate. And it's just a solid loan program. And again, Neighborhood Lift up to $7,500. It can be layered with your first mortgage. And it's just a package.
So don't get frustrated. I know a lot of houses that we had for sale this year, if they are in that price point of $250,000 and under, there's been very hot competition after them, and some buyers have gotten very frustrated and lost out, not just once, twice. We had a buyer buy one that lost out 4 times in a row in multiple offers in the South Minneapolis area. And so they went in on the last, on the one that they ended up buying, and they just went in immediately, no closing costs, well over asking price, because they didn't even want to get into the situation. They wanted to compel that seller to not even wait around and wait for multiple offers, because it was in that around that 180, 190 frame mark, where it's so competitive to get a single family home in that range. So that's where you need the helpful to have the programs, and also helpful to have us help you in that. So
Dawn, have you guys are people writing letters to the sellers?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, are they writing like, my kid really wants to go to this school, and
pictures of
are
dogs.
you guys doing that?
Pictures of dogs,
Yeah,
people.
give pictures and they
Part
write
of the
letters.
negotiation is leveraging the heart.
I actually have most of my buyers, when they're buying a traditional sale, not a foreclosure or a short sale, I have them write a letter to the seller.
I love it.
Whether they're in multiple offers or not, because we're trying to warm up the transaction, because the seller doesn't know who the buyer is.
Right.
And so it's kind of a nice introduction to the buyer, and it's an emotional transaction. When you sell your house, you want to like the person that buys your house, usually.
Yep.
So that's where it's come in great.
It's one of those scenarios where if you're a buyer and it's in a situation where you think it might be competitive, or the house is short time on the market, it's one of those things where it isn't going to harm you.
Yep.
Worst case is you get a seller who doesn't care at all, and they just don't even read it, and they care about the numbers only. Otherwise, if you get but a lot of times what happens in these homes, you have a person who's been in the home. We're working with so many of you out there that are sellers that have been in the home for 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And taken very good care of the home. It might not be updated with the latest bells and whistles, but the bones of that home and the mechanicals and the roof and all that stuff is very, very well taken care of. Solid house. And they want to make sure that the next people that come into the home or live in the home are going to care for it. And if you have a letter telling about you that puts that together, and they can see that and having a little bit of a connection with it, instead of just saying, hey, this offers X, this offers Y, who cares? One's going to rent it, one's going to live in here and care for it, and whatever in the home, then that can matter, so.
Yeah, if you're out there, don't give up. If you're out shopping for a home, don't give up on buying. Just, real estate is, one of the number one ways we build wealth. And it's a long-term investment. I mean, when you're sitting in, that's how I look at it. And I just say, don't give up. Don't give up. And find a realtor. Get a trusted circle around you. Find a loan officer that originates mortgages, understands the tools and resources, and realtors like you guys do that wraparound and just find those folks that are going to really support you.
Yep.
Question for you guys. As a listener, hear you guys make these comments, and I'm thinking back at 8 years ago, we were electing another president then, the housing bubble crashed, prices were getting bid up. What is this market sustainable that we're in right now, and what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'll start off with that one, my opinion on that. I always have an opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion on that is that a lot of the millennials are not buying. They're delaying buying. So the age group that's in their upper 20s and old 30s, they're delaying buying for longer periods of time. And there's a lot of them that would buy or want to buy or will want to buy soon in the next 5 years. So my feeling is that demand will offset any major correction like we did in the last recession or depression or whatever you want to call it we went through. But that demand will fill, and we've also in our area in Minnesota and the Twin Cities, we're very fortunate with our unemployment rate being so low, and with all the jobs that are available. We have very hardworking people here, so that will also mitigate or minimize the offset of a downturn, which there will be a downturn at some point, just a matter of how much and when, but it won't be as great, in my opinion, as the last one. And the other thing about home ownership that Nikki said is it's a long-term wealth strategy. If you look at a lot of people, if you study their wealth and gain, they have equity. They start to build equity in a home, whether that's paying down the mortgage or in appreciation or a combination of both.
Right.
And that's very powerful long term. Very powerful long term.
Yes.
The stability you get as well. You don't have to worry that next year my landlord is going to raise my rent again by another 5 to 8%, and I'm already paying way more than I was paying 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, all those things, and it stabilizes you in a way. It almost stabilizes you more financially. All kinds of stabilization happens when you own a home because
Yeah.
you start to maybe do a little more around the house. You're fixing up your house. You actually have something to care for. So you're putting money into it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of benefits. I'm all
Block
for it.
club
You know,
you're
so.
going to join. It's good for the neighborhood
Yes.
too. Yeah,
Great for the neighborhood.
absolutely.
What do you think?
Well, 5 years ago, I'm selling a lot of my clients' homes now after 5 years, and they've got huge equity. And there's no, I think people may disagree, but I feel like the real estate market sometimes outperforms the stock market. And it is a great way to gain equity. You put in some sweat equity into the house, and then you turn around and sell it. I've got people that are making $100,000, $70,000 off the sale because they bought smart. And you can still buy smart
Yeah.
in this market.
Well, in any market you
Make
can.
the right
Yeah.
purchase. And,
1 minute.
with the correction that we had, things went so low. I think that now we are at a corrected market.
Yeah,
I don't see that it's going to have another depression or recession impact.
Yeah. And there's a
neither
lot of.
does Warren Buffett.
And the other thing is too is millennials are waiting longer to get married. They're waiting longer to have children or start families. So that's another thing. As that starts to come through here in the next 5 years, that's the number one reason too that people buy homes is that stability and they want to have
30 seconds.
families. So.
The sustainable. So I think about affordability. I'm constantly thinking about affordability. Is home ownership affordable? Of course, it's important. Sustainable home ownership, you need to be able to afford your home. But the area median income dropped slightly this year in
go ahead,
2016.
Break if
and
you
the
can.
prices are going up. So again, you got to really think about your financing terms, making sure that you are informed choice. I'll just go there.
Yep.
Informed
and it's sustainable.
choice.
Yep, that's
Yes.
a good choice. Yep. All right, we'll be back with more. We have Nikki Knuckles with Wells Fargo, Vicki Swenson with Minnesota Mold Inspection LLC, and Eric Mortensen with Advaniclean. We're live from the State Fair, having fun, and we'll be back with one more segment. Thanks for listening, folks.